See, let me try again with the YouTube. It might come back. Oh, there it goes. Yay. Okay, good, good. It's coming back. It's like really loud thunder, and the lightning is crazy. The lightning is insane. It's inclement weather. Ray Dow's coming. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. It's okay, Bella. She's sitting on my lap. Maybe I should just leave. Yeah, maybe. It's gonna go out. I'm in Seattle, yeah. Well, the Seattle area, yeah. I'm about 30 minutes outside Seattle. It's okay. She's so scared. Whenever she's scared, she sits on my lap. Yeah. She sits on my lap. I wonder if this chat will work. Let's see. Does group chat work? Maybe. Yay! It's working. Let's go. Nice. I think. I turned everything back on. Thank you for clipping it. I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I could hear my UPS. My UPS was going click, click, like clicking on and off of battery power and wall power. Wall power. Okay, she's leaving. She's happy. She's excited again. She's okay. Oh my god. I'm scared to like finish the video with you guys. That was wowee. The weather is weathering. Yeah. I really like it. I like the weather. It's just we have so many trees that anytime it gets super windy or anything like that, it's we lose power. Yep. I hope we don't lose power on launch day. Me frantically checking the weather. What's the weather like on launch day? Rain. You can see the light flicker in the clip right before you go out. Okay, hold on. Let me find. I want to see it. Got hair all over me now. Hair everywhere. Clips. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, we're gonna make that a highlight first of all, and then I'll show it to you. We're gonna feature it. Yep, we're featuring that. That's great. How the fudge do I make this full screen? They changed it, and now I don't know how it works. How do I make it full screen? Looking. Watching. We are back. We're back. Oh, okay. Well. I don't know how to make it full screen. From this screen, I don't know how to make it full screen. I don't know. There, I found it. Okay, I got it. I figured it out. Okay. This is the clip for anyone who missed it. If I go, it's because I've been taken out. I've been taken out by the man. Uh-oh. Look at this. If I go, it's because I've been taken out. I've been taken out by the man. Uh-oh. Oh my god. If I go, it's because I've been taken out. I've been taken out by the man. Oh, now it's not synced. Lovely. Uh-oh. Oh. Perfect. Amazing. The timing is great. Uh-oh. Maybe we can finish the video. Okay, we're gonna try. We're gonna try and finish the video. Uh-oh. Yeah, it's crazy out there. It's crazy. Thank you. We're back.
But I still was
We're
kind
back.
of disappointed that there weren't more secrets or
We made
surprises
it.
to be found. But who knows? Maybe there are secrets and surprises to be found,
Secrets
and I
and
just
surprises.
simply haven't found them. But to wrap up all of this,
Yes, true.
I love Monster Hunter Wilds. I think the game is really, really good, and I cannot wait to keep playing it. During this review period, I was not able to play with my friends or family. Of course, it's a review period. So I pretty much played through the vast majority of the game solo, which is fine. I still love the game, even solo. But this is one of those games that's even better with your friends, even better with family playing with you.
See you later, Dragon.
And I cannot wait to play more of it with them, which I think is really high praise, because there's not many games that you would put 60, 70, 80 hours into and still want to play more and start over. Like, that's not that common. And so I just want to be clear, I love this game and I cannot wait to dig into it even more. That being said, this is the part of the video where I have to get into some of the less fun things to talk about, some of the bad and ugly stuff about Monster Hunter Wilds, because it is far from a perfect game. The first thing is the performance. If you played the demo or betas or anything, you'll know that this
I am playing Wilds on PC. Yeah, I have it on PC.
Is a massive problem. They also released a benchmark app that you can download on Steam to see how the game will run for you. And I'm sorry to say that it just frankly is not well optimized at all. I play most of these games for review on 3 systems, at least, if I'm playing on PC, and that is on my supercomputer, gaming PC.
Has he been dogging on it? He hasn't been dogging on it. I'm trying to think. What was he saying before that was really positive? He said the maps were smaller than expected. I don't know what else he talked about besides like just giving, well, in the new and improved section. Oh, he loves the map. No, he talked about loving the map. Yeah. He talked about loving the map. Yeah.
PC over here with a 4090 in it, a 7950 X3D whatever CPU in it, 128 gigs of RAM. The game's running on an M.2 SSD. Like, you name it, this thing probably has it. And then I also run it.
I've seen 10 reviews and everybody is like, the game is easy.
On my gaming laptop, which has a 3070 on it, to get an idea of more average gaming PC
it's
hardware,
possible that the day one patch might have more optimization. Yeah, it's very possible.
As far as I'm aware, so we tested on that. And then I also tested on my ROG Ally. And across the board, the game runs pretty rough. Running on high settings on my supercomputer, medium on my laptop, and obviously low on the ROG Ally.
Is he in 4K on his supercomputer? The one with a 4090? Because I was running everything on Ultra except for the high definition texture pack thingy, because we don't have it yet.
Game consistently struggled to maintain.
We haven't looked at polygons.
And often was dipping into the 40s and 50s. That is with upscalers turned on.
Yay,
that's
Johnny,
right. On my
let's go.
supercomputer, if I do not have frame generation turned on, but I have DLSS on balanced mode, not even quality mode, balanced mode, the game struggles to
They had a take. Oh my god. Okay, we'll get through this one quickly.
maintain 60 frames.
Is he playing in 4K? Like, seriously. Because my 3090 had better performance than that. I was playing in DLSS quality, not balanced, and I had everything to like ultra. I don't know.
Dipping into the 50s, sometimes the 40s, and even lower in
He must be
specific
playing in 4K.
in the later game areas against like big bosses. And that's just so insane to me that in 2025, the year of our Lord,
I do totally get that the performance isn't where it should be. Like, absolutely. You shouldn't have to have like, I don't know, a high-end 40 series or 50 series card with a like crazy CPU to have a consistent 60 FPS. I get it. It should be better for sure. It should be better. Personally, I didn't have any problems, but again, not everyone has what I have.
Howard, we would still be having massive technical
it must
problems
be
like
4K.
this. It's crazy to me. Like, we just had Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, which showed you can have an optimized PC release, but here we are with Monster Hunter and it runs like garbage. I'm knocking on all the wood I possibly can get. I hope that the day one patch fixes a lot of this, but I don't know if it will. All I can do is report on the version of the game that I played, and the version of the game that I played ran like hot donkey ass. I hate to say it, but that's what it is. If you turn on frame generation, which is basically mandated in a game like this in order to get consistent frames above 60, you can expect there to be massive artifacting and other such issues that—
Oh, yeah. So if you're putting on frame gen when you are below 60 FPS as your raw frames, I actually just don't recommend that you do it unless you feel like you really need to. Because frame gen is in Wilds is actually pretty freaking good when you're above 60 FPS. But if you're below 60 and you have frame gen on, it is not gonna look good. It's gonna look really bad. Really bad. It's gonna be really bad. So I don't recommend doing that. If you're like, well, you know, with frame gen on, it helps me because I have more frame and like it looks better for my eyeballs, and I totally get it, but visually you will get artifacting if you are below 60 FPS. Hey Giddy. I didn't notice any input lag with frame gen. No, I didn't. I didn't. I have a 3060 and the beta was completely fine for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I will not be playing the Mecha Break beta tonight. No, it's 6:50 and we've been live for almost 8.5 hours.
that come along with frame generation. Latency is not that big of a deal this time around, thankfully, but I did notice that there was all sorts of artifacting and ghosting.
I did unbox the box. What I might do actually is It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube in the VOD. My power went out.
Around text
it's
and
gonna go out again.
Elements when you turned on frame generation, which is really distracting and disappointing. But I hear you, Luke. I'm just gonna turn on VRR. I don't mind inconsistent frame times. I'll be good. Honestly, that's a fair point. Some people can just do that and they don't mind it. Fair point.
Good night, dude.
But one thing I can't just hand wave away, and that you also will not be able to hand wave away, are crashes. And unfortunately, across the gamut of PC devices that I tested this game on, there were sometimes like very repeatable crashes that would happen, specifically when crafting Palico armor in certain base camps in later game areas.
Oh.
I don't know why that would be.
So just for context of my experience, I didn't experience any crashes at all. Again, I haven't played into the super duper late game stuff. But I didn't experience any crashes in my time that I was playing.
But for some reason in those areas, whenever you would craft Palico equipment, it would cause the game to tank down into the single digit frames and then just die. Like it was weird. It happened.
I didn't have any crashes in 80 hours, but if it was doing very specific things like that, maybe you just didn't hit them. Yeah, if it's crafting like Palico armor in endgame camps or something. But he experienced a lot of crashes, I think.
On my big PC, it happened on my gaming laptop. I don't know why. It's well above my pay grade to know. But other than—
It is insane, Crosser. Hold on, let me grab the— For those who missed it. Look. And it's got me name on the bottom. Wait. There we go. I'm gonna hang it up behind me. Capcom sent it to me. Look at this! This is insane. This is insane. Look at this. It's Alma's notes. Feeling a little, no. A little amazed. A little, flabbergasted. Yeah, I can show it on DCP. I'm not on DCP this week, though. After the last podcast, we talked to everyone and decided that it would make the most sense that I am not on the podcast this week, because by the time the podcast happens, I would have been playing for like 9 hours or something like that. Whereas the game wouldn't be out for all of the US, well, all of the world, because, you know, it's not out for the US yet. It wouldn't be out for the everybody yet. So I'd be there like wanting to talk about what I've experienced so far in the story and everything, and I wouldn't be able to say it. So I'm not going to be on DCP this week, but on next week, obviously. And I think Tefty's going to be on next week.
In that, there were also just random crashes that would happen while trying to set up quests in certain areas of the game, and then also random crashes that would happen even during cutscenes, which was weird. And I don't know why this is. It would just...
I haven't seen other people have this many crashes so far, and I didn't experience any.
Crash and then generate a crash report. It would send it off to Capcom, and that was that. But again, it's just really frustrating to have a game that just gives out randomly, and it's lame. It's lame to see.
I
will say, however,
crashes.
it does sound like a good number of patches and fixes are coming on the day one patch or with it. So I am hoping at least the crashes will be fixed by launch day. But again, my policy tends to be, if I ran into something, I'm going to tell you about it, because I don't know for a fact that they're going to fix it on day one. I've trusted publishers before when they've said, yeah, we're totally fixing that, and then they just don't. So I just don't take anything for granted anymore. I will tell you what I saw while playing it, and if I'm able to show you it, I'll show you it. But at the very least, I hope that they do fix it in the day one patch and it's not a problem for you. But I just had to tell you that I ran into it. But perhaps the most infuriating technical problem I had was a graphical glitch that happened across
We've seen this before from a few
devices.
people. I know what he's gonna show. Cerugio, thank you for 97 months. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Thank you. When blowing up Tracer with 1,000 dragons, etc., is a bit higher. Cerugio, thank you for 97 months. Welcome back. Oh, did they re-put up the tweet? Did they put it back up? Yay! Join us February 25th, 12 p.m. Pacific for a final Monster Hunter Wilds community live stream. Well, we have to be live for this. We gotta be live for this. I need to work on the updated bow guide. So we'll probably do a short stream tomorrow watching this. Maybe we watch a review or 2 or 3, and then I'll work on the video for the rest of the day. But I want to be live. I want to be live on Wednesday to play World as like a send-off for World with all of you guys. So, Honeybot, thank you for 2 months. Welcome back. Dude, you're super OG status. It's crazy. So they're going to be covering Tempered Monsters, The Wounded Hollow, and a tour of the Ice Shard Cliffs. So this is the same thing that they showed in the Japanese stream. Cool. Cool. I definitely want to be live for this. I want to be live for this. It'll be nice. I want to be live for that. Yeah. But I really do. I got to finish the bow video. I'm starting, not from the beginning, but I'm redoing a lot of things. And if my power is out, oh lordy, I'm going to be screwed. Ken, thank you for 10 months. Welcome back. Thank you so much, Ken.
Across drivers, I reinstalled drivers,
I'm
did
so
the drivers
happy.
they recommended, then they updated them. I tried everything I could to fix this and it didn't. And I'm going to show it to
See
you,
you later,
but with a blurred
Cerugio.
out,
Good luck.
censored, basically version of what's on screen, just so nobody can accuse me of spoiling anything. But this is it. And I'm going to hit play just so you can see what it's doing on screen. I'm not going to show you like actual gameplay of this area or anything, but I want to demonstrate to you how distracting this is. Okay, so this is paused, but then I hit play. This is what it's doing to my screen while I'm trying to hunt a monster. Wee bit distracting. I have no idea what this is. I called it a vortex problem, and based on my notes as I played through the game, I ran into this 6 separate times, and it was specifically when fighting high rank monsters that were like pretty high stakes fights.
I only saw
and
this once,
would get
by the
so
way.
bad.
Holy. Apparently Cowboy was able to fix it by changing some of the mesh quality settings or something. It happens in quite a few games, yeah. I think it's a mesh bug. Guys, I'm gonna give you a super fun tip. This is a super secret tip. This is the you came back after the storm took out my power tip. If you are using pierce coatings on a bone and you have your pierce coating equipped when you jump off of Sacred to stab them with the arrow, it will pierce all the way down. So it'll go because you have pierce coating on. And because it counts as multiple hits while you have pierce coating on, you can mount most monsters, if they're long enough, with one jump off of Sacred. Yeah. Because it's counting as multiple hits, you can go boop, 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 and then you mount them. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. It is. It's very similar to the SNS plunge. Yeah, it is. Dude, it's so satisfying when you do that. It's so satisfying. Just soloed Raging Bracky twice in a row with no carts. Let's go, Hammer. Hell yeah.
That I just couldn't continue. So I'd have to get to a pause in the fight. And weirdly, the only thing I found that would fix it for about 5 minutes at a time was to go into the settings and
I am a bit confused. I will take out the trash. I'm a bit confused about what Luca's saying here, where he said that this bug happened like... Let me not put words in his mouth. Hold on.
That were like pretty high stakes fights, and this would get so bad that I just
Didn't he say it happened
continue.
like 6
so
times
I'd have
or
to
something?
get to a pause in the fight, and weirdly, the only thing I found that would fix it
he mentions
for
how
about
many
5
times
minutes at a time
it
was to
happened.
go into the settings and change the mesh quality.
6? Okay. So he said that it happened 6 times, but then he also said he would change the mesh quality and it would fix it for 5 minutes. Oh, wait, I know what he's saying. Never mind. Okay, I've fixed my confusion. He's saying that when it happened, it would fix it temporarily, and then he had to restart to fix it permanently. I get it. Never mind. Yeah, he definitely has the most performance issues. I'm not saying that he's doing anything wrong, because I'm sure we're going to see a lot of people with a lot of different setups having a lot of different experiences, but he definitely has a lot more like crashing and bugs and stuff than other people. I haven't really heard a lot of people having crashing very much. Oh. Yeah.
Quality in the graphics settings from high to medium, or from medium back up to high, and then it would fix itself, like it was loading in new meshes, and then it was fine. But other than that, I have no idea what's causing this or what the deal is. I don't know if other people have run into it, but it's really frustrating and made the game basically unplayable. Thankfully, when I
have noticed that he does have issues with quite a lot of games. I have noticed that. I wonder what's going on.
rebooted the game and everything, it would go away and then creep up another handful of hours later. But it was a consistent problem across different in-game areas, monsters. It's just a weird thing that would happen. So
maybe
there you go. But that's enough about the technical side of things. We've beat that monster to death enough already. I want to now touch on two things that left me a little underwhelmed when it comes to Monster Hunter Wilds, and then we're going to wrap this up. And the first thing has to do with a pretty major shift in direction that they've taken with this game, and that is an intense focus on the narrative. If you played through the demo,
if the game ran well in the beta, you are going to be fine. Yeah. If you want a super check, you can do the benchmark tool, the benchmark on Steam, and see how it works for you.
/beta, you'll be familiar with what they're doing here, but basically they have overhauled all of the cutscenes. They've added a ton of new NPCs. Everybody's voice acted. They have some pretty intense scenes where the actors are acting their hearts out, certainly, and even the player character,
I haven't seen any cutscenes, so I'm very excited.
A lot of dialogue within these cutscenes. Now, I only got into Monster Hunter with Monster Hunter World. My buddy Corey was a big fan of the games going back years and years and years. He got me into them, and I love them dearly, but I got into it relatively recently. And so bear that in mind when I say this, which is just that, as far as I can tell, like, most people play Monster Hunter for the monster hunting, not for the story. Like, the story in Monster Hunter games is always something that's just happening to excuse why you're hunting monsters, and that's about it. Nobody really is playing these games for the story. Like, I've never met somebody in...
True, but it makes sense that Capcom, that the Monster Hunter team would want to have it not be a weak point for them anymore, right? Like, anytime you try and convince a friend, you're like, oh, and the combat is so good and the loop is so good, and then your friend who likes having a solid story is, yeah, but how is the story? And everyone goes, So it makes sense that the developers would want you to be able to say, this story is actually really good. This story is actually pretty good. It's a solid story. I like the story stuff. I don't want to oversell it. It's not award-winning, but I enjoyed it. A lot of people have been saying that they had a really good time with the story. It's going to blow your mind. Like, I am... Yeah, and I think it makes sense that they would want that to not be a weak point anymore. And I would love to be involved with the story of Monster Hunter. I would love to, because the ecology is incredible. The way that the whole world is created is so awesome that I would love to be wanting to read everything and investigate the lore more. I would love to.
Chat on streams or anything who's like, I love Monster Hunter stories. The gameplay's so, but I love the stories. Nobody has ever in the history of humanity said that. And I think they're trying to change that with this, and maybe they're trying to appeal to a new audience that likes narrative stuff that maybe didn't play Monster Hunter because it was lacking that. I don't know, but it just really lands flat. I mean, they put a lot of effort into it with Wilds, and frankly, it just doesn't pay off for me. The characters are really dry. The dialogue is dry as a desert and quite boring. The deliveries, I mean, the actors are doing their best, but there's just only so much you can work with here. And for me, it just fell totally flat. I like stories in games that also have great gameplay systems, but well,
we'll see. You know, stories can be or not be for people, so we'll see. It's personal taste, yeah. This is the first person's review that I've watched that people said, that he has said, I didn't like the story. A lot of other people said, I really liked it. I really liked the cutscenes. It blew my mind. The story was really intriguing. So, yeah.
In this case, the story was just something that I felt was in the way of what I actually wanted to do. Like old school Assassin's.
Oh, no. Oh no, it's the gamer again. It's the gamer 2.0. Yeah, there's like cutscenes and stuff. And I'm like, why are there cutscenes?
Assassin's Creed games when you're like, ooh, black flag, I want to be a pirate.
The gamer.
Oh, I've got to
no.
walk through Abstergo and I've got to walk to my desk in the real world. Like, nobody wants to do that. They want to be a pirate. Let me be a pirate. That's what I want to do here. I want to hunt monsters. Let me hunt monsters. Why are we talking about our fifis? And maybe in this same vein as trying to appeal to a new audience, perhaps the most interesting revelation in my time with Monster Hunter Wilds is thus. And that is that the game
You can skip cutscenes, yes.
shockingly easy. And listen, throughout this entire video, you've been watching my gameplay. I'm not...
I mean, listen, we haven't played the story. I haven't watched the cutscenes. Like, I legitimately do not know anything about the story personally. So I don't know. We'll see how we feel about it. But I'll keep it in mind that things are boring. Things are boring. It's boring, and it didn't land. I'll keep it in mind. We'll keep it in mind. Gamer alert. No, he was just saying that the story didn't land for him, and he found it kind of boring. Just didn't really work out for him.
Good at these games. I'm not talented. I am not skilled. I'm just a loser who's sitting in a basement who likes playing Monster Hunter games, okay? I like them even though I'm not particularly good at them. And even so, I found this game to be shockingly straightforward and easy. And listen, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn or be like, ooh, get on my level. I'm just saying there are certain things we can look at in terms of difficulty and challenge over the course.
Largely people are talking, like, most of the reviews will be talking about low rank because they're not able to talk about like more post campaign stuff yet. Some people have touched on if they felt high rank and beyond was easy or not. I've heard mixed things, right? Pretty much everyone agrees that this campaign low rank of Monster Hunter is like some of the easiest stuff that you would have experienced in a Monster Hunter game. High rank is a little bit more mixed. Some people have said that there is literally nothing that will challenge you. Some people have said high rank is a good difficulty. So it seems like high rank is really all over the place in terms of difficulty, but every single person we have watched has said that low rank is surprisingly easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Of somebody's time with the game. At this point, I've played 78-ish hours of Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh no, Neb, you're fine.
And I have not failed a quest. I have not been downed or fainted 3 times, in effect, within a single mission. And my average completion time with optional hunts at high rank has been under 15 minutes.
Okay, so that is about high rank. This isn't about low rank.
Hunts at single mission.
Let's hear that
and
again.
My average completion time with optional hunts at high rank has been under 15 minutes. Like that.
Under 15? I mean, yep. I mean, we're watching all the reviews. We're watching like everything. we're watching everything. We're frothing at the mouth, trying not to die. So that's why we're here. Yeah, so he is saying that in high rank, his hunts were less than 15 minutes.
That's not that much. Especially they're giving you on average between like 30 and 50 minutes for these hunts. And my average time is under 15. I don't know what the deal is. I just have found this game to be shockingly straightforward and easy to play, at least so far. Granted,
Learning a lot if you don't like Luke. I've definitely found, I find some of his takes to be ones I don't agree with other games. Yeah. I mean, less than 15 minutes is pretty short for your first time hunting like a high rank monster, you know? Or doing high rank monsters in general. It's that's definitely not, it's not very long.
I tend to be like kind of hyper obsessive with loadout creation and creating loadouts specific for individual monsters, looking in the monsters field guide to make sure I can figure out what type of elemental damage they're weak to and they're vulnerable to, and then trying to build a loadout specific for that monster. And then I go and engage in those hunts repeatedly.
I don't think it's been
so
bad.
Granted, I'm like trying to min-max and make sure that my build is perfect for each individual hunt. But even then, like, it doesn't change the fact that I kind of suck at these games, and I'm still finding myself waltzing through the entire game, which was just surprising to me because I went back and looked at some of my footage for Monster Hunter World, and I regularly was going into some of those fights at like 30, 40, 50 minutes right on the edge before the timer runs out, trying to finish the hunt against the Anjanath or whatever. And it was just part of how that game was.
Well, that's also tricky because he said that Monster Hunter World was his first Monster Hunter game. So if you're talking about your first ever time fighting Anjanath in your first Monster Hunter game, then yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I think it is fair to say I haven't seen a person yet who has said the game isn't surprisingly easy. The other stuff, I mean, the story stuff is going to be highly subjective, so I can't really tell him that he's wrong, especially as I haven't watched any of the cutscenes and I don't know the end of the story at all. I don't know anything about that, so I can't really say anything about that. I know a lot of you were like, well, the stuff he's saying about Assassin's Creed is like not, that was exposing him or whatever. Everyone's different, yeah. Hey, Franco. Yeah. We'll see.
It was very challenging, but this time around it's been shockingly easy to play. But to be perfectly clear and fair, there is a good chance that a lot of this is different by the time you play it. One of the biggest and most ambiguous patch notes that are expected,
I think it's the language. Yeah, I think it's like my game ran like donkey ass. And I think when people hear things that are like very strongly worded, it makes people go, eh? Instead of being like, you know, instead of saying things in a more, I guess, professional kind of way. It rubs people the wrong way, yeah. Julio, thank you for 52 months. Welcome back. Thank you so much. Thank you. Why don't I have a review? Because I didn't want to see any of the monsters or fights or anything or story revelations that we hadn't seen already from trailers. I wanted to experience that live with you guys. So I've played enough to be able to make a beginner's guide, to be able to make a new bow guide. But I really want to experience everything for the first time with you guys. That's why, like, the new Monster Hunter trailers, right? Yeah, sorry, we'll watch about the patch. That's why all of the trailers, I didn't watch them until we watched together. Like, I want to watch it all together. Using the word abysmal, yeah, it's extreme language. It's extreme language, so it does tend to rub people the wrong way. I do want to watch Ocean is one, yeah. I do.
You play it. One of the biggest and most ambiguous patch notes that are expected for the day one patch is simply a line item that says balancing fixes, which can mean anything, but it could mean boosting the HP of monsters across the board. Maybe they kept them low for us during reviews so we'd have an easier time getting through the game. Who knows? Maybe they're gonna make monsters even easier at launch or whatever they end up doing, but this is something that they can change relatively easily.
You know, I actually wouldn't be surprised if the balancing is around monsters' wounds and how it affects monsters when you break their wounds. Because I think that would be a thing that makes a lot of sense to change, and it wouldn't necessarily make it more difficult for new players either. I don't know where he's getting it from. He might have reached out to his contacts or something and asked them, but wounds feel like OG world flash pods. where you're just flash potting a monster, they fall down. There, the flash pod fall down, flash pod fall down, flash pod. It feels like that. It feels like the same thing. And they ended up changing that for a reason. They said they cranked up health to account for wounds, but they may need to go a little bit further. Oh. Oh yeah, they do. Probably like double. Probably double. I haven't watched Super Rad yet, no. Pierce coding is not a new coding, no. Well, no, it is a new coding. It's a new coding. There used to be Pierce bows. There used to be Pierce shot types. Yeah. There were Pierce shot types. Interesting. We'll
through
see.
patches and stuff. But again, all I can do is report on what I have seen and what I experienced. And for me, Monster Hunter Wilds, for whatever reason, was way easier, I feel, than Monster Hunter World was. And even then, like, I feel like it was a good bit easier than even Rise was at times, which is just surprising. But all of this to say, I still love Monster Hunter Wilds. It's not a perfect...
I'm very confused where the difficulty discussion comes from. World health bars were significantly lower than Rise, but supposedly Wilds is about the halfway between them. So is the difficulty purely that they need to be tankier and hit harder? Yeah. So if they do hit you, they don't do a lot of damage. They really don't. They don't do a lot of damage. You can also kill them in like 4 minutes, like everything. So I think boosting the health and having them do a bit more damage to you would genuinely be a really good idea. What's up, Grave? Yeah, I mean, so health on monster and stuff, I think you can boost the health on a monster pretty easily. Okay, but Tilted, one shot versus a monster that does their big slam attack on you and it does like 1/8 of your health, maybe. If you are wondering, other YouTubers are currently playing, they are not currently playing on stream. If they are gonna get bonked by Capcom. I have a copy. I'm choosing to preserve my experience for stream. If you are wondering if you should play it on PC, do the benchmark.
Perfect game technically, and the fact that it runs so poorly is a huge bummer. I mean, when you boot the game up for the first time, one of the first things it asks you is whether or not you would like to turn on frame generation. Like, that's one of the first things they prompt you for in the game. And that is like an immediate red flag for performance. I have it right here. That's an immediate, like, oh, do you hear the people singing red flag? Because if they're asking you immediately, do you want to turn this thing on to like artificially inflate your frames and make it run better, that should tell you performance is not going to be great. And in this case, it really isn't. So the performance is a major bummer and holdback. I hope they fix the crashes, and I hope they fix the vortex of death glitch and bug or whatever the hell is happening that I found consistently throughout the game. I hope they fix that stuff. And once they do that, I hope they balance it to make it a little bit more challenging. The end game, which of course I can't really talk about, does offer some more challenge and some more interesting things to shake it up. Again, I'm frustrated I have to be so vague, but the end game...
Bro, I'm so glad you have to be vague, because I have a feeling Luke would show us the final monster with like no thoughts about whether it should be done or not. Because that's why the embargo is the way it is. It's so people watching reviews 3 to 4 days, depending when it comes out for you, before the game comes out, don't get spoiled about big story things.
Does have some more challenge that makes it more interesting.
Oh, sorry if you got timed out. You can't mention final bosses.
More challenging.
You can't mention final boss
with World and Rise, and so it's just surprising.
You literally can't say it. You will get bopped.
I'm sorry. How easy it was to get through. But all of that set aside and, you know, ignoring the story because most people probably will, I still loved Monster Hunter Wilds. I can't wait to continue playing more. And at the end of the day, like, most of my frustrations with it are that I want more of it, and I want more of it to be challenging so I can justify spending more time playing it. And that's a good problem to have with a video game. For you to spend over 70 hours in it and just want to play more. Like, that is a good thing to have people saying about your game. I hope that they continue to patch it and improve performance. Other things like multiplayer is certainly going to add a lot more fun for a lot of people, and I'm sure that's going to be awesome to see. And I can't wait to see what happens as the months go by. And
I feel like I didn't really get... I don't think I really got a lot of information from this review. I feel like he told me that he's played however many hours it was, like 80, 60, and he can't wait to play more. But then the rest of the review was like, I hate this. I don't feel like I actually got any good information out of it. I don't feel like I learned anything. Oh, I can't do this right now. It's too late. I can do a short one. We can do a really short one. I have to make this bow video. We've watched Ruri. What was it? How long? I do want to watch his though. I really do want to watch his. Gaijin Hunter, 13 minutes. We can do this one.
Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter, and thanks to...
Let me change the video source. Gaijin Hunter. And I'll link you to Gaijin Hunter in the chat.
A review copy provided by Capcom, I was able to play the entirety of Monster Hunter Wilds. I want to give you my impressions, but without any spoilers, so I'll only be showing unedited random gameplay from the initial area of the game, and this will be more of a listening experience than a visual one. Feel free to background this video as you go about whatever you're doing. This also assumes that
we haven't watched Eric's together, but I did watch it earlier.
You're not new to Monster Hunter, and you already know about the different features that Wilds has to offer. I'll try to give the pros and cons of each topic.
This is the last one we're going to be able to watch today.
For the
it's 7:30 and I've been here since 10. I need to work on YouTube videos. I go to bed.
In whatever shortcomings I felt the game had in its current state.
This will be the last one today.
Playtime. It took me roughly 11 hours to get through low rank and an additional 14 to get through high rank.
Okay.
This is on par for
11 plus 14.
All the games in the series, honestly.
That's not
Monster
bad.
Hunter is a game about replayability, so this was fine for me, and the amount of needless fat has been trimmed so much that these were some really high-octane 25 hours or so with no deviation from myself when it comes to key quests or messing around with more than 2 weapons, the sword and shield and the dual blades.
I have not watched the Force Gaming review. Screw Force Gaming. I'm sorry. Listen, I quite like Force Gaming, but there is legitimately no excuse to break embargo. There's really not. It's not difficult. It's not complicated. Not something that it's lordy. It's not. No. There's no excuse.
I don't know how much mileage normal people get from base games if they only play one weapon, but what I can say before I get to the topic is that the way they redid the skill system is fantastic. And the final list of weapons are all very well balanced, so I could easily see you wanting to simply make one of each of your favorite weapon, especially considering that they're back to unique designs for every variation, and some of them are nice.
Without saying what he posted, without saying exactly what he posted, what did he do? Did he show the final boss? Did he show endgame? I know he showed post what he was supposed to show. Because what everyone is allowed to show here is basically up to New Udra and not any further than that.
If you're coming in from a full-on expansion release like Iceborne or Sunbreak, you'll probably find the content super refined but lower in volume, sort of like how fancy steaks are served at high-end restaurants. They'll continue to add monsters as the base game goes on in free updates, and I assume unlocking new tiers of weapon upgrades and such, but don't expect the roster to change dramatically. Base games are where they lay the foundation so that they can go crazy later with a master rank expansion. Still, I feel the quality of what is there well makes it worth playing the game now, and the experience of enjoying new updates along with the community is a fabulous one that I wouldn't want to miss unless time and money makes it hard.
Yeah, so the review embargo, just to give you an idea, the review embargo covers, like, you're allowed to put up your review 3 to 4 days ahead of the game coming out to give your opinion about it. But you can only show and talk about in detail up to a certain point in the story to protect people from having the story spoiled, different monsters spoiled, final monster, end game, you know, whatever it may be. They put those things in place so you're not getting spoiled from stuff literally 4 days before you can play the game. I don't know exactly what Force Gaming put up there, but he did not listen to those restrictions. He took the video down now, but he didn't listen to he didn't listen to that embargo and ended up posting something that he shouldn't have.
In the end, I feel the roster is smaller than even I expected, so that disappointed me a little bit, and I hope Capcom expands the roster faster sooner than later post-launch.
Okay.
Difficulty. We can't talk about the playtime without talking about difficulty. It's both true to say that Monster Hunter as a game is progressively easier the more experience you have in the series, but it's also true to say that Monster Hunter Wilds is probably the easiest entry in the series at the same time.
I agree.
Low rank hunts were all clocking in about 4 to 5 minutes for me, high rank about 6 to 10, and the end game hunts is where I finally saw some going over 10 minutes to and upwards about 14. Every time you get knocked down, it's just a button press.
Oh. Okay, so 4 to 5 minutes for low rank.
Time. Low rank hunts were all clocking in about 4 to 5 minutes for me.
4 to 5 minutes.
High rank about 6 to 10.
High rank 6 to 10.
And the end game hunts is where I finally saw some going over 10 minutes.
And then end game is over 10 minutes. 10 to 14. See, this is what I'm saying, right? Is like, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited for the game. But I'm totally fine with low rank being the easiest thing ever in the history of mankind if it needs to be. But high rank and definitely end game needs to feel challenging. It's really it really does. It really, really, really does. Really, 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 really does.
Rank about 6 to 10. And the end game hunts is where I finally saw some going over 10 minutes.
Wilds is supposed to have a better story,
yeah. Every time you get knocked down, it's just a button press to get away and heal. And I think they could consider making the auto dodge ability of the Sacred a little limited to like just 1 or 2 times. That way there is risk to using it, because this...
Huh? Huh? Is Bella puke? Oh, wonderful. I might have to get off.
Point, it's like having unlimited wirefall from Sunbreak. They did remove a lot of friction that I know a lot of players liked in order...
What hunt length does everyone think is appropriate for HR? For high rank, I would say 15 to 20 on the low end. I would expect like most average people are probably doing like 30. But I would say 15 to 20. I think 15 to 20 is a good spot for high rank. Yeah, 20. See, 15 to 20, 15, 15 to 20, 20, 15. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's good. Guys, we can't, I mean, listen, okay.
To make the game more approachable, and the series has been going this direction for a while now, so I find it kind of pointless to talk about whether you like that approach or not. But it certainly does mean that more people will get into the game and stay with it.
I hope they do!
So in the end, it'll be good for longevity of the franchise.
I hope they do.
But that also affected how much I cared about one of the cooler new features, which is pop-up camps. To be blunt, I ended up not using them at all.
Oof.
Not only was there low risk of carding in the game, but the Sacred is so fast and so good at autopilot that I would just hold circle to call it in auto mode, and then I would stand up and stretch, get a sip of water, and just let it shuttle me to the monsters. And that never took much time because the Sacred is fast and has a really good auto pathfinding. Pop-up camps, I think, were meant to shine more in multiplayer, where you'll want to get back into the action as fast as you can in the event of a cart. But they were broken by monsters so often for me that I didn't care to repair or even engage with the system. Sacred kinda just nullified the niftiness of the mechanic for me. Progression. One thing that pleasantly surprised me is how fast you unlock each of the areas in the game. The idea seems to be less that one area houses harder monsters than the other, but that they all contain early, mid, and end game monsters. I really love this approach, and it made the game feel like it really opened up fast. I could have easily blown 100 hours doing different stuff if I wasn't focused on just the story. One of the reasons why I
Who's talking about spoilers? Tag them, I'll ban them. I'll tag them and ban them and bury them.
critical path the game was because I want to spend my majority on a new save when the game launches so I can enjoy it in multiplayer with my daughter. I only did like a few hunts in one area and already they were ushering me onto the next. But later on you'll come back to previous areas and there's new progression. The flow was sublime and this is the best paced Monster Hunter game to date in my opinion. They also do a really good job of slowly unlocking features as you play through low rank. Low rank is very much treated as the extended tutorial for the game, so when you roll credits, assume that it's just the intro credits to the game. High rank is not to be considered endgame content, it is the actual continuation of the game, and there is a clear spot where the game then transitions into endgame. Without spoiling anything, it is hard, but there is a particular decision at the end of the game that is not going to sit well for a lot of players. It seems all but obvious to me that they wanted to keep some stuff in holding for post-launch updates that connect to the larger experience. I personally don't like the decision, but it'll be solved with just a little bit of time. Hopefully.
We'll see.
I love what they did with investment.
I mean, I feel like they want this to be their ultimate Monster Hunter game, so I feel like it makes sense for them to make it bigger and better and put a bunch of time into it and content into it.
Investigations. Basically, when you look at the map, you can take any of the current monsters there and make an official quest out of it, being a survey quest that you'll start right away, or saving it as an investigation to do several times at a later time. There's a power rating and thus rewards will differ, so you can pick and choose like going out grocery shopping. This does though have the side effect of making rare items like gems almost meaningless, since you can always just choose harder investigations that have a guaranteed gem as a reward, but it's still better than what they did in Iceborne, since at the end of the day you're still having to hunt for it. It's not like you're just trading points for the item. Like it or not, but the quality of life seems here to stay, and while it feels kinda like cheating at times, it does mean players will hit less walls less often, for better or worse. Story. I'll be honest with you, for me, Monster Hunter is almost exclusively about having a compelling premise and environment for the game to take place in, and not about actual storytelling. Some parts of the story made me roll my eyes, but overall, it didn't drag at all like I felt it did in World Iceborne, and I think it did a good job of stitching together the elements of the game. Vocal performances were also great. Like every Monster Hunter game, I always feel there's potential to dive deeper into the characters that Capcom simply fails to do or often even attempt, with Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate being one of the rare exceptions. Nothing is really different this time. There's memorable locations, setup, and the characters are great, but the story itself will be like whatever. Some will love it, some will like it, some won't, and some will be indifferent about it like myself. Overall though, the journey and just the overall feeling of the game and the whole setup is really good. My initial concerns. First, let's cover my original concerns about the game from previews and the demo. First, the idea of a pack monster is there, and it's much easier to deal with than I thought it would be. And honestly, it only came up a few times in the natural progression of the game, so it felt kind of like a special event. This allowed me to really appreciate the mechanic, and it felt organic and not something gimmicky. If you're like me and you don't like to have a huge amount of chaos in your hunts, it's not something that you really need to interact with a lot, and there's tons of ways to handle it. So I find this to be a very positive feature for the game that I hope they expand on. I hope in the eventual expansion that they actually add more scripted pack monster events. The second concern I had was how fast the weather changes in the demo really occurred, and that added to the chaos that I wanted to get away from. And I was shocked to see how well reserved Capcom was about the pacing in this game. The different states of each area start out very static. Like you'll see the first area in one way and it'll stay that way until a big story beat later, and then it'll progress to the next state. Even after hours in endgame, it never felt like some chaotic gamey system, but rather 3 distinct flavors to enjoy each of the maps in, and generally if you go into a hunt with the condition in one way, it's going to be that way for the majority if not the entirety of the hunt.
I must have spent way longer in these environments because it was not like that for me. I was fishing a lot, and trying to catch a bunch of like big game fish takes a long time. But I saw the weather and the time of day change like constantly.
The dynamic nature will be more visible when
not constantly, because it happens at a much slower pace than in the beta. But I definitely experienced the changing of weather and
out open exploring,
time.
And that brings with it a special charm for just chilling out and hunting whatever you run across with you and your friends, or just simply alone. The third thing I was concerned about was how much focus mode would be shoved down your throat. It's very well implemented, and depending on the weapon you choose and the playstyle you personally want to go for, you can interact with it a lot or only on occasion when you want to bust open a weak spot for damage. Pleasantly surprised is how I'd put it. Again, with the difficulty being so lenient and so many viable options on the way to play or weapon choice, what is shaving 20 seconds off a hunt when you can just play in a way that you find more enjoyable? Don't over optimize the fun out of the game. Even if you don't ever go into focus mode, you'll still be fine, because choosing not to do a finisher and pop the weak spot right away, that means that you'll have a longer period in which dealing increased damage to the weak spot, so in the end it really just comes down to player choice. I also didn't realize in the beta, but the monsters have an attack where they're left with a temporary weak spot. Like a Rathian, when she blows a fireball, will expose her tongue, and this limited time weak spot is there for the keen-eyed and well-timed
Those are pretty
hunter.
fun to take advantage of.
And it felt really satisfying to identify these for each monster and exploit them.
Those are pretty fun.
Weapon skills. I love what they did with the weapon skills. By taking each weapon and applying different innate skills on them, it really helps differentiate each end form of the weapon in the crafting list. Because attack boosting skills are only applicable to the weapon slots, it means that you can't have everything. There are trade-offs that you'll have to make, and that's great. It makes each choice more meaningful. I just pray in the eventual expansion that they don't add level 4 decorations, as it would make the weapon slots so powerful that you can pretty much put any skill you want, and that would take away from this meaningful choice. The best way to push more power into a set, the way that they have it, is with the charms, and they have a really good grocery list of items to hunt for in order to upgrade them, which is more than enough to keep you very busy trying to make and upgrade the ones that matter to you. Decorations can be melded so you're not left out of a skill for a certain playstyle, and decorations with bonus skills can be earned by hunting harder endgame encounters. Performance. I played on a GTX 4080 PC, which is an expensive setup, so I really can't comment on overall performance, but the game is certainly not light, and I expect that they'll find ways to optimize it post-launch, if not by day one.
If I don't bring my Palico and I'm naked and I hunt with only slinger ammo, will it then be challenging, Alejandro? Is that what you're telling me? Okay.
And if you are concerned, consoles are usually a really sure bet to get a great experience. Or you can even try the free PC benchmark to make that determination if PC is the route for you. I had a great time in 4K DLSS on quality mode with ray tracing on high, and I did not use frame generation. I did have dips, but the game does give you a fair amount of toggles that you can mess with to sort of tune your experience, and I'm sure somebody will test them all in depth and come up with some really good optimization settings. Overall feelings. I can't go into more detail without spoilers, but I found the game to be super cozy and fun to play. It reminded me of the difficulty of Monster Hunter Portable 3rd, which is a game that didn't get localized to the West. When things are not too hard, but the monsters are still dynamic enough to make you feel really good when you pull stuff off, for me it leads to more experimentation, less caring about over-optimization of your gear, less concern about what's meta, and it's really just a fun time to hunt and explore. The maps are all incredibly memorable, the states that they are in are unique, and while the roster is smaller than I had hoped, the quality of what we do have is fantastic. They streamlined a lot of friction out of the game, so if you know that before jumping in, then I think you'll have a great time. The DLC monsters and eventual expansion will no doubt give us the difficulty that we crave, and I can say confidently that this game creates a foundation so solid that one day it might very well become the best Monster Hunter game to date, but time will tell.
Look at him.
In the meantime, how they plan to flesh out the endgame, expand the roster with free updates, and how they can address some of the glaring omissions that I'll cover in my spoiler review will become key to the overall experience. Seasoned players will see their mileage vary depending on how many weapons you play, how much you like to play without the need for a grind and just for the sake of fun. But for newer hunters, Wilds will no doubt be a fabulous entry with more than enough content to carry them from start to finish without ever feeling like it's light. How the game is as a multiplayer story experience is something that I'll find out as I start my new and forever save when I play this game at launch with my daughter.
If
Anyways,
they bring
I
the
hope you guys
challenge
enjoyed
to
this
master rank,
audio-focused
we're
review. I thought the
chilling.
game was great.
Yeah.
There's certainly some shortcomings, but overall the content quality is very high. And I can't wait to see how they expand on the game post-launch.
Oh, that look good.
I'll do a spoiler review
That look fun.
probably maybe in like a week or two. I'll give it some time. And of course I will label it justly so those of you who don't want to know about the monsters or even the endgame mechanics can just skip that video until you're feeling comfortable. Hope you guys enjoyed this early review, and until next time, happy hunting.
Thank you, Gaijin Hunter.
Hey guys, this is Gaijin.
Thank you very much. Leave a like, go share the video. Give it a like, leave a comment. Here's what I think. Most people that have played World or Rise most likely picked up the game's post-launch content complete. They only experienced from where it's at, not the base game. They expected a challenge. Wild looks to be a fresh start, so I would imagine it to be a bit jarring when comparing to things like Iceborne. It's definitely easier. I don't think that changes how good the game is. Legit. I don't think that it changes how good the game is. I think that Wilds is an incredible game, and I cannot wait to experience it. I think, I would like to see the monsters have a bit more health, for sure, so that they don't die in like 4 minutes, 7 minutes, and then like 10 minutes. But like the game is incredible. I think people are hearing like one downside and then everyone being like, but it's my favorite game ever, and they're focusing on the downside and saying that is making the game bad. From everyone that I've heard say that it was easy, all of them have been like, but this is my favorite game ever. So there is also a day one patch, so we're gonna see what's in the day one patch as well. We don't know. We will find out on Thursday. We will find out. We're really close. We're super, super close. I am gonna call it there. I was gonna get off at like 5 p.m. a little bit later. It's okay. I'm gonna take you guys on Twitch over to Mylan Games. I'm gonna go show Mylan some love. If you're on YouTube, if you could just leave the stream a like, especially as we got disconnected. Does it even show our stream? Let me check. Does it show both streams? or is it all in one? That's 2. Okay. Well, all right. Unfortunate. If you could leave it a like, that would be lovely and fantastic. Thank you. Let's see. Tomorrow, here's the launch for your local timings. Tomorrow we will be live for that 12 p.m. Community hunt. We will be live for that, so we'll be here then. But I can't be on for much. Can't be on for much longer after that, because I really need to finish the bow guide. I want to finish everything. I want all the stuff that I want to do to be done before we play Wilds, so we can just like no life Wilds for a couple days and not worry about making content. Yep. I'm very excited. So we'll be here at 12, and then we'll have a good old time together, and then Wednesday we're going to play Monster Hunter World together. Do a big send-off for World. All right, gamers. Thank you so much for all the love today. Thank you for being here while I open this. This is crazy. Crazy stuff. Thank you guys so much. I'll post pictures of this on the whole thing on Discord and Twitter and everything. I'll post pictures everywhere so you can see it. And I will see you tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific, a little bit before 12 p.m. Pacific, so that we can watch the community stuff that the community managers are doing. Marky, thank you so much for the sub. Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome. Have a good night, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye, friends. Good night. Enjoy your evening. Woo woo, beep beep. Good night, everyone. Marky, thank you so much. Welcome. Bye, friends. Love you. Mwah. Kisses. Mwah.